Teachers of government and lay private institutions in Nigeria today, 2nd of June, staged nationwide protests calling for the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to make it possible to rescue 48 students, pupils, and 8 adults kidnapped in Oyo State by bandits and armed men. These men kidnapped the 48 more than 2 weeks ago, and some of the kidnapped victims have actually been beheaded. The only crime of these individuals who have been kidnapped was that they went to school to teach and to study. Kidnapping in Nigeria has become a common business, a lucrative business, where many politicians are being accused to be using kidnapping as a source of crowdfunding and generate money, since the government will have to pay ransom, hasty ransom, which automatically some will be divided into two before reaching the kidnappers. So teachers stormed the streets today in Nigeria demanding that the government do more to protect and to rescue those in captivity. The testimonies of those kidnapped are horrifying. Some of them have been tortured, as the kidnappers have made it clear that any attempt by government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu to rescue these people with the use of force will be catastrophic and will be very, very bad, that even the Guinness Book of Records will be unable to reconcile what they will do to the victims. It is very sad at this moment that these teachers have to resort to protest. Nigerian government, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, on several occasions have made it clear that insecurity in Nigeria has reduced, but that's not the case, because today, 2nd of June 2026, more than 30 people in Kogi State were kidnapped by gunmen. As I'm talking to you, 30 people have been kidnapped, and 2 were killed in the process in Kogi State. And it is only adding to the numerous numbers of people who have been kidnapped in Nigeria. Also, as of 6 months ago, 300 people were kidnapped in Nigeria. In Benign State, 300 were kidnapped in Benign State. Each day will hardly go by without mass kidnapping in Nigeria. And the question many have been asking, what is the problem? Why is Bola Ahmed Tinubu unable to resolve this issue? Are the politicians using this as a political bit to get more money? The answer is obvious. Yes, the politicians are highly involved in some of these kidnappings, as they point fingers to one another of being responsible. Some supporters of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu are accusing governors of some regions of sponsoring these kidnappings to make Tinubu's government unpopular, so that the protests can erupt and Tinubu can be removed through street protest. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, while campaigning in 2022, made it clear that he was going to recruit 20 million Nigerian youth into the army, and he was clear as to what they will eat. In a statement that even he himself did not even understand the statement, he said, what would they eat? Cassava, gari, eba. And after that, he clarified, and he made a lot of gaffe when he was campaigning. Inconsistency, which any normal Nigerian citizen will understand that this is a president who is destined to fail. One of the instances which he made it clear was that he said he was going to increase power supply in Nigeria. And he said an information highway is a super highway in which they spent $20 billion for roasted corn. The inconsistency of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu can also be likened with that of President Joe Biden when he was campaigning in this period with Donald Trump in the in the recent 2024 presidential election. A lot of water is going down the bridge in Nigeria. Celebrities are divided. Some have been paid by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to do his PR image, to clear his image. Others are unclear that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has overstayed his welcome. Tinubu promised to provide electricity to Nigerians, but as we speak right now, the situation is worse than he met it. The situation of insecurity is worse than he met it. The situation of unemployment is worse than he met it. The situation of the cost of living is worse than he met it, and standard of living is worse than he met it. He has failed in all algorithm, and we cannot build a new Africa with leaders who decide to surround themselves with corrupt officials, praise singers, whose only focus is to loot government money. If you look across the corruption index and you look across the borrowing sprawl of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the World Bank itself refused granting Nigeria additional loan. In the month of May, the World Bank was worried that Nigeria cannot constantly be taking loans to improve on energy supply or the energy sector, whereas no progress is being made. If the World Bank itself can reject giving a country loan, an African country loan, knowing fully whether the African country is rich with resources, that speaks volume. And before that, Nigerians took to social media at IMF page and said IMF should not borrow Nigerian money. They flooded the comment section to a certain level that made IMF to deactivate the their comment section for at least 2 days. If you look across Nigeria, top political or revered professors and preachers have buried themselves in tribalism and refuse to speak the truth that they spoke when others were in power. A case in hand is Professor Wonye Shonika. Professor Wonye Shonika was one of the very active people who protested several times against the Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's government. Wonye Shonika went to the streets and protested against Jonathan and said Jonathan was dragging down Nigeria. When Chibok girls were kidnapped under the reign of Jonathan, Professor Wonye Shonika was on the street. When Jonathan announced the removal of fresh subsidies, Professor Wonye Shonika was on the street. Another one is Il-El Adeboye, a prominent Nigerian preacher, televangelist of the Redeemed Church. He protested on several occasions against President Bola against Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, but they are now mute since it is their Yoruba brother, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is in power. They are mute. And Il-El Adeboye, the man of God, said he's a man of God, not a politician. Wonye Shonika has been quiet, instead attacking Tinubu's political opponent for this upcoming 2027 presidential election. In the like of Peter Gregory Obi, he has attacked Peter Obi, despite having a track record of excellent leadership as governor for Anambra State. Peter Obi has not been spared by Professor Wonye Shonika. And so, we're asking the question, has tribalism outgrown the love for Nigeria? As more than 48, the lives of 48 are on the line. The terrorists have given a deadline. Revered men of God who used to kick against Jonathan are now silent because he's one of them. The first lady of Nigeria is even making matters worse. She's more concerned with re-election of a president than the reality on the ground. Nigerians should ask themselves, how many more people need to be kidnapped before they take their destiny into their hands?